Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Let me introduce myself. My name is Aulia Ramadhani Fatrahman from EMAP 7, and today I'm going to do a presentation about Consort checklist. So, uh, starting off, we have the first section, which is title and abstract, which has 2 points, being the first point 1A, being identification as a randomized trial in the title, which is efficacy and safety of a recombinant plant-based adjuvanted COVID-19 vaccine, which is stated in page 1. Moving on, we have point 1B being structured summary of trial design, methods, results, and conclusions. It is stated in the first page, being in this phase, 3 multinational randomized placebo-controlled trial conducted at 85 centers, resigned adults around being over 18 years of age in a 1:1 ratio to receive 2 intramuscular injections of the COVID vaccine or placebo 21 days apart. Being title and abstract done, moving on, we have introductions, which is background and objectives. Being the first point 2A, scientific background and explanation of rationale, which is stated in page 1. Coronavirus-like particles that are produced in plants and display the perfusion spike glycoprotein of the original strain of severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2, which is SARS-CoV-2, are combined with an adjuvant system 03, or we like to call it AS03, to form the candidate vaccine. And being point 2B, it is stated in page 2 to 3 specific objectives or hypotheses. The primary objective of the trial was to determine the efficacy of the COVID vaccine. After the detection of at least 160 laboratory confirmed COVID-19 cases at least 7 days after the second trial injection, the primary vaccine efficacy results were calculated after a median safety follow-up of at least 2 months. The data cutoff dates for the efficacy and safety analysis were August 20, 2021 and October 25, 2021, respectively. Moving on from introductions, we have methods. Being the first point of the methods is trial design, which is point 3A, this description of trial design, such as parallel, factorial, including allocation ratio. It is stated in page 2. Enrollment of this ongoing randomized placebo-controlled trial was conducted from March 15 to September 2, 2021 at 85 sites in Argentina, Brazil, Canada, Mexico, the United Kingdom, and the United States. The trial, which was funded by Medicago with financial support from the Canadian Innovation, Science and Economic Development Strategic Innovation Fund, was designed by company representatives with input from GlaxoSmithKline. And for the ratio, it is 1:1 ratio. Moving on to point 3B, important changes to methods after trial commencement, such as eligibility criteria with reasons. It is stated in page 3, highlighted in green. Trial participants were adults above 18 years of age who had not received previous vaccination against SARS-CoV-2 and who had no history of confirmed COVID-19. Full inclusion and exclusion criteria are provided in the supplementary appendix and the protocol. Participants were randomly assigned in a 1:1 ratio to receive 2 sequential intramuscular injections of the COVID vaccine or placebo, administered 21 days apart. Moving on from trial and design, we have participants, which is point 4A, eligibility criteria for participants. It is stated like before in the green highlighted green area. It is the participants were randomly assigned in a 1:1 ratio to receive two sequential intramuscular injections of the COVID vaccine or placebo administered 21 days apart. And for the full inclusion and exclusion criteria are provided in the supplementary appendix and the protocol. Uh, Moving on, we have point 4b, which is settings and locations where the data were collected. It is stated in page 2 in the red highlighted area. It is stated that the controlled trial was conducted from March 15 to September 2, 2021 at 85 sites in Argentina, Brazil, Canada, Mexico, the UK, and the United States. Moving on from participants, we have interventions, which has 1 point, which is being the interventions for each group with sufficient details to allow replication, including how and when they were actually administered. For this point, it is not included in the text. So we are moving on to outcomes, which is point 6a, completely defined pre-specified primary and secondary outcome measures, including how and when they were assessed. It is located in page 3 in the yellow highlighted one. The primary vaccine efficacy endpoint was the prevention of symptomatic COVID-19 detected at least 7 days after the second dose. Cases were adjudicated in a blinded fashion by a subcommittee of the Data and Safety Monitoring Committee. A positive case was defined as the presence of at least one symptom that was compatible with COVID-19 and positive result for SARS-CoV-2 on a nasopharyngeal or nasal swab by reverse transcriptase polymerase chain reaction, or in short, RT-PCR, as say Viroclinics. And then we have point 6b, any changes to trial outcomes after the trial comments with reasons. It is not stated in the text, so we are moving on. And then moving on, we have sample size, which is 7a. 7a, how sample size was determined? It is mentioned in page 3 in the pink highlighted area. The COVID vaccine, which has been described previously, displays full-length pre-stabilized glycoprotein trimers from SARS-CoV-2 expressed in Nicotiana benthamiana. The vaccine contained 3.75 of the COVID combined with AS03, which contain DL alpha tocopherol and squalane in a final volume of 0.5 milliliters. And then we have 0.7b, when applicable explanation of any interim analysis and stopping guidelines. It is not stated in the text, so we are moving on, which is the next one, which is randomization, being the first point, point 8a, method used to generate the random allocation sequence. It is not stated in the text, so we're moving on, which is generation. Point 8b, type of randomization, details of any restrictions, such as blocking and block size. For this point, it is stated above, which is being the generation of the type of randomization, details of any restriction. It is to be said, full inclusion and exclusion criteria are provided in the supplementary appendix and the protocol. So moving on, we have allocation. Point 9, mechanism used to implement the random allocation sequence, such as sequentially numbered containers describing any steps taken to conceal the sequence until interventions were assigned. For this one, it is not stated in the text, so we are moving on. to point 10. Who generated the random allocation sequence, who enrolled participant, and who assigned participants to intervention? For this one, it is stated in page 5 in the small box. The data in the pink highlight, it is stated the data cutoff date for the primary vaccine efficacy analysis was August 20, 2021. Of the 25,170 participants who were recruited, 24,141 underwent randomization in the intention to treat population. After that, we're moving on to point 11A. If done, who was blinded after assignment to interventions? For example, participant, care providers, those assessing outcomes, and how. It is also stated in the small box in the pink highlight one. It is stated of 25,170 participants who are recruited, 24,141 underwent randomizations in the intention to treat populations. These participants had no virologic evidence of COVID-19 before receiving the trial injection. The safety population include 24,176 participants who had received one or more trial injection. The per protocol population included 20,090 participants who had received 2 trial injections as scheduled and had no major protocol deviations. Participants who may have discontinued their involvement in trial after qualifications as part of the per protocol population shown in the bottom set of boxes. And an additional 10 participants withdrew from the study, 4 in the vaccine group and 6 in the placebo group, and the timing of their discontinuation by day 21, by day 42, or after day 42 could not be ascertained with confidence. Moving on to point 11B, if relevant description of the similarity interventions, it is not stated in the text. Point 12A, statistical methods used to compare groups for primary, and secondary outcomes. For this one, it is not stated in the text also. And also point 12B, methods for additional analysis, such as subgroup analysis and adjusted analysis. For this one, it is mentioned in page 6, which has a graphic of point A of A subgroup analysis and data B strain analysis subgroup. So this is the methods for additional analysis, such as subgroup analysis and adjusted analysis. So they break down all the participants, including age, gender, race, COVID-19 disease severity, seropositivity at baseline. So moving on from methods, we have results, which has point 13A, participant flow. A diagram is strongly recommended. Point 13A, for each group, the numbers of participants who were randomly assigned received intended treatment and were analyzed for the primary outcome. For this one, it is stated in page 5 in the blue highlight, a total of 24,141 participants underwent randomization and were included in the intention to treat population. Demographic information and details after randomization were not available for 2 participants who were not included in either efficacy or safety analysis. Moving on to point 13B, for each group, losses and exclusion after randomizations together with reasons. For this point, we have a diagram showing the participants who underwent the trial of vaccine. So the first one being 25,170 participants were assessed for eligibility, being that 1,023 were excluded, 6 discontinued early, so they didn't went on trial. 24,141 underwent randomization and were included in the intention to treat population. They were breakdown to two, being one was where 12,074 were assigned to receive COVID plus A03, where the 12,067 were assigned to receive placebo. After that, they were breakdown again, and in the end, 10,554 were included in the pre-protocol population, in the per protocol population, I'm sorry, and 9,536 were included in the per protocol population also, which discontinued after day 42, being 5, which has an analysis of 5 dead, 11 were non-adherent, 63 were withdrawn by physician or investigator, 690 withdrew consent, 1,596 withdrew to receive non-trial vaccine, and 3 had other reasons. Moving on to point 14a, dates defining the periods of recruitment and follow-up. For this point, it is not stated in the text of how long the trial will recruit people and follow up. So we're moving on. And at 14b, why the trial ended or was stopped, it is not stated in the text. So moving on to point 15, a table showing baseline demographic and clinical characteristic of each group. We can see it in page 6, we have which the data shows in the subgroup analysis. It is shown all participants being either COVID plus AS03 or placebo. It is they are breakdown to age, which is 18 to under 65 years old, healthy but over 65 years old, coexisting illness above 18 years old. They have gender, male, female, race or ethnic group, COVID-19 disease severity, moderate to severe, and seropositivity at baseline. And moving on to point 16, for each group, number of participants denominator included in each analysis and whether the analysis was by original assigned groups. It is not stated in the text. So we're moving on to point 17a. For each primary and secondary outcome, results for each group and the estimated effect size and its precision, such as 95% confidence interval. It is stated in page 9, which is shown in the blue highlight. The occurrence and intensity of unsolicited adverse events in each group are provided in tables, along with data regarding serious and medically attended adverse events and events leading to withdrawal from trial, events of special interest, and death. So we're moving on to 17b. For binary outcomes, presentations of both absolute and relative effect sizes is recommended. It is not stated in text, so we're moving on. At point 18, results of any other analysis performed, including subgroup analysis and adjusted analysis distinguishing pre-specified from exploratory. For this one, it is not stated in text. At Point 19, all important harms or intended effects in each group. It is stated in page 8 to 9, which is stated in the yellow highlight. In this trial, we found that the COVID plus AS03 vaccine provided substantial protection against COVID-19 caused by a range of variants. The overall vaccine efficacy was approximately 70% against any symptomatic infection in a young adult population. Of these participants, almost 10% had high-risk coexisting illness, regardless of baseline serostatus. Vaccine efficacy among adults who were 65 years old or older could not be determined because of the limited enrollment of participants in this age group. However, previous evidence suggests that CoV-LP plus AS03 vaccine induced similar immune responses in both young and older adults. The prevention of severe disease and limiting transmission are critical objectives of ongoing vaccination efforts, although few severe cases were noted in this trial. All such cases were in the placebo group, and overall vaccine efficacy against moderate to severe disease in post-hoc analysis was 78.8%. 86% among participants who were seronegative at baseline. So that's being the point 19. So we're moving on to discussion, which is point 20. Trial limitations, addressing sources of potential bias, impressions, and if relevant, multiplicity of analysis. It is not stated in text. Generalizability, point being point 21. Generalizability, external validity, applicability of the trial findings. It is not stated in text. For point 22, interpretation consistent with results, balancing benefits and harms, and considering other relevant evidence. It is stated in page 9, the one I read before, in the yellow highlight, which contained that the CoV-LP plus AS03 vaccine provided substantial protection against COVID-19 caused by a range of variants, but also some participants who underwent the trial injections also had high risk coexisting illness, which is 10% regardless of baseline serostatus. And then moving on, we have other information being registration number and name of trial registry. It is stated in page 1 where around 24,141 volunteers participated in trial. And name of trial registry is it is stated in the title, efficacy and safety of a recombinant plant-based adjuvanted COVID-19 vaccine. Moving on, we have protocol, where the full trial protocol can be accessed if available. It is not stated in the text of where the full where the full trial protocol can be accessed if available. The full trial protocol can be accessed after it is stated here in the diagram, which is before there were 25,170 participants who were assessed for eligibility, and then they underwent randomization and were included in the intention to treat population, where the full trial will go being divided into two groups, where group 1 will receive CoV-LP plus A03 vaccine, and group 2 will receive placebo. And then the funding Point 25, sources of funding and other support, such as supplies of drugs, role of funders. It is stated in page 2 in the red highlighted color. It is stated that the trial, which was funded by Medicago with financial support from the Canadian Innovation, Science and Economic Development Strategic Innovation Fund, was designed by company representatives with input from GlaxoSmithKline. Syneos Health Canada provided trial management service. Site investigators were responsible for the recruitment of trial participants, local trial conduct, and data collection. Key laboratory analyses were performed by viral clinics. All the participants provided written informed consent. I guess that's all for my Consort checklist presentation. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.